Hello! If you have purchased a fabric patch off my website, or if you have one at home and you want to know how you can attach it to a piece of clothing or another piece of fabric using a needle and thread, then you are in the right place. So I'm going to show you how to do that today, and let's get started. You're going to need a few items. A patch, of course, whatever garment or textile you're planning to attach it to, some sewing pins, a pair of scissors, a sewing needle, and thread. If you're working with a thicker fabric, be sure to choose a needle that's made for the job. I personally like to use an embroidery needle as well as colorful embroidery thread to add a bit of something extra to my project. If you purchased a patch from my website, you have a couple of options. You can simply use the patch as is in its 5 by 5 inch square form, or go ahead and cut a shape around the patch, making sure you have at least 1/4 inch of fabric from the edge of the design. If you're using the patch to cover a hole, it should also overlap the edges of your hole by at least 1/4 to 1/2 inch. Fabric around a hole is generally a bit weaker, so we'll use our patch to double up on reinforcing the areas around the damaged fabric. To keep a hole from fraying even more, you'll want to cleanly trim its edges and sew a running stitch all the way around it. If you're simply sewing your patch onto undamaged fabric, feel free to skip ahead to the pinning stage. Line your patch up over the hole or wherever you're wanting to attach it. Make sure it's lying flat, then use your sewing pins to secure it to the fabric underneath. Now we're going to start stitching. Cut yourself a piece of thread that's about the width of your outstretched arms. Start by tying 2 overhand knots at one end of the thread and threading the needle with the other end. Take your needle to the back of your fabric, poke it through the edge of your patch, and pull tight until you feel the knots catch at the back. Then push the needle through the front of the fabric, returning to the back side. Remember to remove your sewing pins as necessary. Punch through to the front, then the back, then the front, then the back, repeating this until you've gone all the way around your patch. When you're done, tie a couple of knots as close to the back of the fabric as you can. Then go ahead and trim the excess thread. For an extra cool look, I recommend going around the patch a couple of times in other complementary or contrasting colors of thread. For a bit more of a frayed edge look, feel free to create horizontal running stitches on the inside edge of your patch instead. If any of the patches from this video interest you, please visit my website where you will find 8 newly released patch designs that come in a variety of colors. So feel free to check them out. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for even more creative tutorials.